presentation, you might realize that you're going to learn today about infidelity. So how many of you guys know someone, by a show of hands, who's been cheated on? Look around you. Almost every single person in this room is raising their hand. And there's a reason for that. Cheating occurs in about 20% of marriages and up to 70% of dating relationships, which are the type of relationships we would be in here at college. Now, a lot of the times when you guys think about cheating, you're probably thinking of the negative consequences and your sad friend sitting in her room by herself eating ice cream. However, studies have shown that there are positive effects of cheating. We learned about a couple of them in LeVay and Baldwin, that's our textbook, guys, about the evolutionary concepts that could lead one to engage in infidelity. However, some studies have shown that infidelity actually increases a person's sense of self, and it can increase their self-esteem as well. However, a lot of the times, the negative consequences of cheating outweigh the benefits. These can include sexual abuse, a decline in psychological health, and in rare but extreme cases, suicide. Now, these costs and benefits, something to remember, is that they happen to both the cheater and the cheatee. The cheater could feel a sense of guilt following cheating on someone, but the cheatee obviously had something extremely terrible happen to them. So a lot of the times people ask, why do people cheat? And although we can't necessarily answer that question, researchers have found warning signs. Some of the warning signs of cheating include having cheated before, having a friend group that's socially acceptable of cheating, being male, because males tend to cheat more than females do, thinking you're hot, like you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, I could really pick up a mate really easily, and not being very religious. Now, the issue with a lot of these studies that have found this warning sign is they ask someone to think about the relationship that they're currently in or a past relationship where they've been cheated on, and it's not necessarily in the moment or over a span from one relationship to the next. A lot of the times you're just focusing on one single relationship, and that could have been bad. So the cool thing about my study is that it happened over a long period of time. It was a longitudinal study, and it was called Once a Cheater, Always a Cheater: Serial Infidelity Across Subsequent Relationships. It was published this past August in the Archive of Sexual Behaviors. Now, as I mentioned, the really cool thing about this study is that it looked at relationship to relationship, so it studied the same participants and saw how their cheating behaviors changed over the course of time. Now, this study, the data was taken from a study that was actually done in 2010 across the nation. So how participants were contacted was by phone, and they were asked over the phone whether or not they were between the ages of 18 and 35 first. If they said yes, then they were asked if they were in a heterosexual relationship. If they said yes to that, they were then asked if they had been in the relationship for at least 2 months. If that was the case, that brought us to 1,294 participants. They were then asked to participate in this study, and if they agreed, they were sent a survey. Now, in the survey, they were asked about their own cheating engagement, so whether they engaged in cheating, and they were also asked about their partner's engagement in cheating, whether it was known or suspected. For cheating in this case, they weren't talking about emotional cheating, which could be something as lying to your partner. They were talking about physical cheating. So they described this as sexual relations. You could take with that much you may. After the first survey, 46 months later, they were sent a second survey and asked to do the same. This happened 11 times over the course of 5 years. Now, in order to incentivize people to complete all of these surveys, following the finish of one survey, you were mailed $40. So had you done all the surveys, at the end of the day, you would walk away with $440. Each survey took about 75 minutes to complete. Kind of crazy that they did it by physical mail and not email, but, you know, technologies these days. So, now my study, what I told you guys, is that they did it from relationship to relationship. So you could have just been in one relationship for that span of 5 years, but we didn't want to look at those participants. So we only looked at participants who had 2 or more relationships, and that was 484 people. The demographics of these participants were 68% female, 76% white. They were on average 24.8 years old, which makes sense because, as I noted earlier, you had to be between the ages of 18 and 35 to participate in this survey. And then they completed 10 of the 11 surveys, which was about a 91% completion rate. Now let's get to the research questions. What the researchers wanted to figure out was, A, does one own prior infidelity predict a higher risk of infidelity again in the future? So if you've cheated before, are you more likely to cheat again? They hypothesized yes. Second question was, are people who have been cheated on more likely to be cheated on again? Again, they hypothesized yes because they thought that, as I noted earlier, there's warning signs for cheating. So someone who's attracted to a cheater would likely be attracted to a cheater again in their next coming relationship. And then the third question was, if you've cheated, are you more likely to think that your partner's cheated? The mindset behind this was kind of like, oh wow, if I'm cheating, someone else probably cheats as well. So they thought that this would also be yes. Now to the results. So in regards to the first question, they asked participants had they cheated in their first relationship. And of those who had cheated in their first relationship, 45% of participants had cheated again in their second relationship. However, if you had not cheated in your first relationship, there was only an 18% chance you would cheat again. But over the span of the 5 years, they found that if you had cheated in the first relationship, which was the relationship you were in when this study began, then you were 3.4 times more likely to cheat again at some point in those 5 years. Crazy. Now in regards to the second question, if you had known about your partner cheating in the first relationship, there was a 22% chance that you would report again that they cheated on you in the second relationship. Granted, these are two different partners, two separate scenarios, but had your first partner not cheated on you, there was only a 9% chance that you would report it again. And over the course of 5 years, they found that you were 2.4 times more likely to be cheated on again had you known of your partner cheating on you in the past. Now, in regards to suspected cheating, had you suspected your partner cheated on you in the first relationship, there was a 37% chance you would suspect your partner cheating on you again. However, if you hadn't suspected it, there was only a 6% chance. This makes sense. You know, if you're kind of a jealous person and don't really know what your partner's doing, you're likely to suspect it. And researchers found that over the course of 5 years, there was a 4.3 more likely times that you would suspect your partner cheating. Now, in regards to the third question, you cheating does not mean your partner cheating. So researchers found that there was no correlation between whether or not you cheated and you thought your partner had cheated. But overall, the results showed that of the participants in the study, 44% of them cheated themselves, 30% of them had been cheated on, and 18% of them had suspected that their partners cheated on them. But although all of this is interesting, I think the most interesting part of this study is that when they controlled for gender, they found that there was no difference. So as I noted earlier, males are way more likely to cheat than females. However, a lot of those statistics come from past years and decades ago where we didn't have access to technology like Tinder or Bumble that make it easier for females as well as males to engage in cheating. So this basically showed that both males and females engage in it at pretty similar levels. But does this mean that once a cheater, always a cheater? Although the study showed that you are way more likely to engage in cheating had you done cheating in the past, it doesn't show that you always will. In regards to the first relationship to the second relationship, less than half of people engage in cheating again. So even though they did in the first relationship, there was less than a 50% chance that they would again. So does that really show that you're definitely going to be a cheater? No, not necessarily. I think the more interesting results of this is that had you been cheated on in the past, you're likely to be cheated on again. And that's what we need to focus on. How can we fix that? How can we make sure those people who are being hurt by cheaters don't have to deal with that again in the future? And although this study was super great, there were some drawbacks. One of the first limitations, as I noted earlier, is that they asked about cheating in the form of sexual relations. Some people think kissing is sexual relations, some people think having sex is sexual relation, but kissing and sex could be very different things. There's also such things as open relationships. Researchers noted this, so they asked in the last survey whether or not you considered yourself being in an open relationship, and only 2% of participants said they did, so this probably didn't bias the results that much. Another one of the drawbacks is honesty. All of this data was self-reported. So if you're going to sit down and fill out this survey, you might just feel an overwhelming sense of guilt and be like, wow, I shouldn't admit to cheating. So that could have biased the results as well. And then the third drawback is this generalizable? As I noted, it's only between 18 and 35, the age group. So younger couples don't fit into this, neither do older couples. Also, you had to be in a heterosexual relationship, so same-sex couples also don't fit into this standard. So where do we go next? Basically, research needs to figure out a different way to approach how we deal with cheating. We now know so many facts about cheating, like whether or not it increases your chance of cheating again, but are there treatments for cheating? That's where I'd like to go next. Thank you.